Students of criminal law are often a little disconcerted to discover that before they can look at things like murder and blackmail and robbery, they first have to learn these two rather strange Latin terms. And they're called the actus reus and the mens rea of a crime. And in order for a person to be found guilty, the accused, the prosecution needs to prove that they have the actus reus, the physical part of the crime, as well as the mens rea, the mental part of a crime. For those of you perhaps who are struggling a little bit to understand this, we're going to look at a few examples. But let's say that you get you get a text and with a picture attached to it of your boyfriend or girlfriend at a party in an intimate embrace with someone who's not you. Now, if you're going to find this person guilty of cheating on you, potentially, you have the physical evidence, you have the actus reus. As we can see, this is almost certainly your boyfriend or your girlfriend, although their faces are obscured. But in order really to find them guilty of cheating, you need to know what their mental state was at the time, their mens rea. So you need an actus reus, you need a physical element, but you also need the mens rea in order to find them guilty. What were they thinking at the time? Is this an amorous embrace, or is this an embrace because the other person is upset about something that's happened to them? It would make a difference as to whether you would find them guilty of cheating or not. So let's go back now again to criminal offences and remind ourselves that every serious criminal offence requires an actus reus and a mens rea in order for someone to be found guilty. And the best way of understanding this is to look at a few criminal offences. So let's start with everyone's favourite crime, if you like, murder. Now, the actus reus, or the physical thing that a person has to do in order to be charged with murder, is to unlawfully kill another human being. Now, this is also the actus reus for a number of types of manslaughter. But what makes it murder is the mens rea. And the mens rea, the guilty mind that's required, is an intention to kill or an intention to cause serious harm. So if you put those two together and the prosecution can prove that this old lady with her rather large knife killed another human being, and at the time that she did it, she intended to kill or cause serious harm, and the jury believe that, then potentially she will be found guilty of murder. Then there's theft. Let's start with a classic story. Let's say I go out for a nice meal on an evening, and it's pouring with rain, as it often is, and I take my umbrella with me. But on the way out, instead of picking up my umbrella, I pick up somebody else's. Let's see if my action in taking that umbrella could find me guilty of theft. So the first thing we need to find out is, what's the actus reus of theft? And the actus reus of theft is the appropriation of property belonging to another. Now, appropriate has many meanings, but it also means take. So obviously in taking property belonging to somebody else, I have the actus reus, the physical part, the physical act of theft. But of course, we've said every criminal offence requires a mens rea as well. Let's have a look at the mens rea. Mens rea, the guilty mind. I must be dishonest in my appropriation. So that I must be dishonest when I took the umbrella. And I'm not really, am I? Because I think that it's mine. I must also have an intention to permanently deprive. Now, I do have that. But the important thing to remember when you're looking at any criminal offence is that all the elements of the actus reus and the mens rea must be there in order for a person to be found guilty. And it looks like, in terms of dishonesty, I haven't committed theft. Unless, of course, I found out or realised at some point that it wasn't my umbrella and decided to keep it, then potentially all the elements of theft would be there and I could be found guilty of the offence. Let's look at one last one. Criminal damage. Now, it should be pretty obvious to everybody that the actus reus of criminal damage is to destroy or damage property belonging to another. Now, you could do this in a number of different ways, couldn't you? You could do it accidentally. The mens rea requires to have a guilty mind to be found guilty of the offence of criminal damage, that you intended to damage that property or you were reckless in damaging that property. Recklessness, it's all to do with risk. No need to go into too much detail now. Okay, so good examples of the actus reus and the mens rea working together across three different offences. So here's our jury in a Crown Court. Now, interestingly, you won't often, and the jury won't be told the terms actus reus and mens rea, but they will be told about the physical part of the crime and what the defendant needed to be thinking at the time. So if you are ever on jury duty and you hear them talking about these, you'll know that they really mean the actus reus and the mens rea are what are required in order to find someone guilty of a criminal offence.